Hi, Frank Korb here. Welcome to Art with Korb. Hi there. This is Mr. Korb, Frank Korb, working on color mixing. Welcome to artwithkorb.com. Today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be demonstrating two different ways in which we can mix color. For the first one, I'll be using some oil pastels, and the second one, we'll be mixing some acrylic paints. The ideas behind this are things that you can use pretty much with any colors that you want, any mediums that you want. So if you don't have acrylic paints but you've got watercolors, or you don't have watercolors but you've got oil paints or tempera paints or something like that, that works just fine too. But as we get started, we're going to begin with our oil pastels. So one of the things to think about regarding oil pastels is the colors that you're going to be using. One of the rules that I've always tried to follow is always mixing dark colors into light colors. So if I wanted to have the color yellow as my dominant color, and I were to lay down some yellow in my picture plane, and I wanted to tone that down, I could do it dramatically with the color black, or I could do it a little bit more subtly with its complement. No, I don't have purple, but we'll go with magenta as a close relative to purple. I can lay down my complement to it like this. So I'm laying down my dominant, my lighter color first, and then I'm adding its darker color over the top, or its complement in this case. And then what I'll do is I will add another layer of that first color over the top to blend it in. So now it's blended down. It's not quite as bright as it was. I could lay down a lighter layer also if I just wanted to tone it down a smidge, and then lay that other color back over the top. So I can tone my colors down. Now if you use black, black is a very, very strong, very dominant color. And so even if I add a little bit, it's going to change it very, very dramatically. And I can do this with all the colors that I want. So that's how I do color mixing with oil pastels. So be aware of that. You could also take colors like, this is, I'm going to call it red. It's a rich orange. So I could take my rich orange, and kind of lay that down. Notice I'm getting a little of frottage with the table underneath. And frottage is rubbing a waxy surface over a top of another surface and getting that texture there. So if I were to mix orange, lay down orange, I could then lay down a blue over the top of that to tone that down. So there I would just be toning things down. I wouldn't even necessarily have to blend that in. If I wanted it to be a little bit more bold, I could do that. Or I could lay down orange over the top of it, maybe in the other direction, to help blend it together. But I can also mix analogous colors. I could mix yellow into my orange and now have a yellow orange. Or if I had a red, I could mix red into it, and I do have red. I could mix red into it and get a red orange. And in this case, I might have to add that orange back over the top of it. Remember that I'm trying real hard to always add my dark color into my light color, but it doesn't always work that way. So that's with oil pastels. Now if I were going to do paints or a liquid material, I'll do that in the same way. I will demand that I add my dark color to my light color. So I already have white and phthalo blue laid in, and I'm adding a little black to the mix. It's going to take me a lot less blue to change the white than it would if I added white into the blue. So I'm just going to take a small bit of my phthalo blue, and I'm using a circular motion to mix that. Now I have a palette knife. You might not have a palette knife. You might have a paintbrush. If you use a paintbrush, that's fine. I happen to have palettes in my studio. You may not have palettes in your studio. You might have paper plates or big pieces of paper or little pieces of paper. Whatever you've got, that is fine. So notice that using my palette knife, and generally I have a couple of palette knives so I can scrape them off of one another, I'm getting a nice light blue. This is a tint of phthalo blue. If I wanted to mix a shade of blue, that would be taking black and mixing it into my blue. So I'm just going to take a little bit of blue and set that aside. And I'm going to take just a small little tiny bit of black and mix that into my phthalo blue. And that's going to give me a very dark, dramatic blue, very deep blue. It takes a lot less black to change blue than it does blue to change black. So pay attention to that as you're mixing colors. And this works with acrylic paints here, it works with oil paints. If you've got watercolors, remember watercolors are fairly transparent, or tempera paints, or magna paints. That's what it is. Oy vey. So whatever you're doing, I got to get my terms straight, folks. Magna, or house paints, if you've got house paints, whatever you've got, that's what it is. So thanks for joining me. That is Mixing Colors. Artwithkorb.com. Thanks.